Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. So today, I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Allison Gifford. Welcome, Allison.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing awesome. How are you doing?
Good. Making it
Perfect.
through for sure.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us, what do you do?
So I am a food freedom and body confidence coach. I actually practice as a physical therapist by day, but by afternoon/night, I'm a coach for women to help them find food freedom and body confidence.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
what got you into that line of work?
So I recovered from 16 plus years of eating disorders in the length of 6 months with the use of a coach, where therapy actually held me back. Coaching actually helped me move forward. So when I found that sort of freedom and when I was able to recover from my eating disorders, I just knew that I needed to help other women make peace with food in their bodies, because that's what I had such a hard time doing for so long.
Okay, awesome. With an eating disorder, how does that happen? What is it? Eating too much, eating not enough? How does that typically work?
Yeah, so there is a broad spectrum, a broad range of eating disorders. So what I had anorexia, which is something where you're restricting your food intake a lot. And a lot of the time, people with anorexia can be very underweight, but that's also not always the case. People can be restricting food and still be at like more of the average or norm sort of weight. It really just depends on the person, depends on the situation. Another thing that I did, another eating disorder that I did had was bulimia and also binge eating disorder. So basically what bulimia is if you're eating a lot of food at once to over your comfort level, like multiple times a week, and then trying to purge in some way, whether that's with throwing up, whether that's with over-exercising, whether that's with laxative use, all those things. So there's a broad spectrum of eating disorders. It's definitely not just those three, but yeah. So anyone that practices any sort of disordered eating habits that really don't feel good to them and feels like it, takes over their daily life and really inhibits them from living the life that they want to live.
Awesome. And you said in terms of what you do, you said you also is a physical therapist, you said?
Yeah, so I'm a physical therapist by day. So this kind of naturally brought me into the coaching world because I know a lot about like the human body and like how the human body works, all about the different systems in the human body. So I have a good foundation laid down to be a coach in this realm for sure.
Awesome. So what got you into physical therapy?
So I was a cross country runner as well as a track runner in high school. So I had a lot of injuries, and on top of it having like my eating disorders and stuff, that actually exacerbated my injuries. So I would see PT for that. And I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to go to school to help people in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know what that looked like. I actually wanted to be a veterinarian for years and realized I don't think I could put a dog down. And then so I naturally transitioned to something still in the healthcare world, but something that I could see myself doing more since I was so into like movement and exercise and things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as a physical therapist, did you own your own studio? How did that work, or did you work for how did that work?
Yeah, so I still work as a physical therapist, so I do both. But I mainly work with kids. I'm a home health PT, so I go to people's homes and I take care of kiddos aged 0 to 3. That's my little niche in the physical therapy world. But then I come home and I do the coaching.
hmm Sounds awesome. So
Yeah.
what's your vision in terms of I guess with your company, what you're doing right now? What's that vision that you have?
Right now, my biggest vision is just to be able to reach out. I actually have a social media platform as well, and I just wanted to reach out to as many women as possible to let them know if they're struggling with any sort of food and body image issues, they're 100% not alone. I think in this world, we all grew up with this vision that you're supposed to look a certain way, you're supposed to be thin, you're supposed to eat a certain way, and you get all of this influx of information from so many different people, so many different levels. And I want to be that person that can ground someone and let them know that you don't have to listen to all these rules. All these rules are like a farce. You can actually live the way that you want to live and still live a very healthy lifestyle. So my vision is more so just getting as many people I can to see that vision and open themselves up to that sort of lifestyle, as well as be able to coach women one-on-one who think they need that extra boost and that extra level of help.
Awesome. So how does it, in terms of, because you said as you one of the things that really help you as well too is you've kind of you got your own coach. They kind of help you through the process as well too. Now, do you feel like when someone is in such a situation, is this something you believe they could do it on their own, or do you recommend typically, hey, find a professional to work with? What are your thoughts?
So what I see, like I saw this in myself and I saw this with other clients and people that I've talked to, is that you can do a lot of it on your own, and you can definitely do like your own research. You can do your own exploration. You can do your own sort of recovery. I kind of fashion my own recovery as well in that way.
Right.
But getting to the point where you just need, like, you've gotten to a point and you're stuck, but you still know that there's more to go. That's where coaching helped me. So it looks different for everybody. There's no like specific timeline. It's really specific to that individual person. But a lot of the times what I see is people get stuck at one certain point. They know that they've gotten like so far from, what they might have been as like a teenager, but they still are at this point where they're like stuck in a rut and they're like, I want to live this life, but I don't know how to get there. And I've gone as far as I can go alone. And that's the point that I usually see people at, is when they know that they got to this point that they can't go further without somebody to kind of guide them and hold their hand through it.
How do you work with your clients? Do you work with them in a one-on-one type setting?
Yeah, so I work one-to-one. I do just all virtual visits, like online. And then eventually, as I grow my business and my programs, I definitely want to create more like group coaching programs, as well as like support groups and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Exciting. With
Yeah.
how has COVID-19 affected what you do, your business, in any sense?
So how it's been affecting me the most is I've definitely seen a lot of people struggling more with food because of the fact that they're home and a lot of people have to buy like, an influx of food at one time, just because of the fact that going to the grocery store is more difficult. So I've just found myself being more in that social media realm, just offering as much support as I can. And just like talking about like, if there's weight gain going on when you're in quarantine, if you find yourself practicing more negative eating habits, and how to handle those things, and letting people know that they're not alone and how they're coping right now, and that there's a way to get through it and move past it. So that's really what I've seen the most, and I've actually gained more traction because of the fact that there are more people struggling right now with eating issues, because it's just like right in front of their face all the time. They don't have as much of a distraction.
Yep. The pizzas. I feel like the pizzas call my name right now, right?
Yes, ice cream for me, so I get it.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. So what about in terms of just education and getting better improvements? What are your audiobooks? Is it podcasts, reading? What do you do? How do you get your new information?
How do I get my information for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so what I usually do, I'm reading a lot of books. So I love like self-help sorts of books. So right now I'm reading Body Respect as well as Anti-Diet. So those are two that I'm really like diving into right now. But I gained a lot of information from podcasts, self-help books. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, whether that's like the ones I'm reading now or other ones that I've read in the past. As well as I'm looking into like health certification programs. And then my physical therapy degree really, really helped me with learning the coaching aspect of things.
Awesome. So tell us something, right? So a question I love asking is in terms of as you go through your day to day, you always have these awesome breakthroughs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any recent breakthroughs on the business end as far as ideas or great insights you'd like to share?
Yeah. So my biggest insight, so when I first started doing coaching, I tried to spread myself out way too thin. Like I listened to way too many podcasts. I got all the freebies. I went to like 3 coaches. Like I did all of these things and I was very stuck and I didn't see any traction in my business. And then I noticed when I started to kind of lean back and not be so crazy about everything, when I actually felt that like I can still be successful and not feel like I'm trying to drive myself up a wall all the time. That's when I actually started like seeing clients come in and seeing the discovery calls come in and getting people to reach out to me and comment on my posts, like things like that. So when you like kind of lean back and just let yourself be grounded in the sense that you know what you're doing and that you're going to be successful, that's when I've seen the most traction. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I like another question is what about skills wise? Are there any skills you would say you've mastered that's gotten you to where you are today?
So the skills that I've mastered, I would have to say that talking to people. So I feel like talking, like just just communication skills in general, I've just noticed has made the most traction is just like being super, super compassionate. And where I've seen the most traction, even in myself, is when I held a lot of self-compassion for myself, that compassion spread out to so many other people. And that helped me gain skill in my coaching skills and my business and like my PT career in my life. So holding self-compassion for yourself first and foremost, so that can translate into compassion for others, has definitely helped with those communication skills and build up those, overall skills in that way.
Yeah, awesome. What about as because I know a big part about it with just getting into entrepreneurship, starting your own business, doing all these
Mm-hmm.
different things. Most people, they want to do it, but they're typically sitting on the sidelines as far as
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not sure if I could do this or da da da, all these
Mm-hmm.
different things. How did it look for you? Were you just someone who just said, hey, I want to do this, and you just jump right into it? How did it look for you?
So for me, I was in PT school, and there was something that just was a little bit off, like when I was in PT school, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know like what it would look like, what anything different other than becoming a PT would look like, but I knew something was off. And then when I got my first job after PT school, I realized like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't like this. Like, and I kept trying to make excuses and go into different directions. And then I finally settled on this fact, like, I knew I wanted to start a business, and I just honestly honored that and let myself accept that. My first part of that was accepting that I wanted to start a business and not judging myself for it. Cause I think I spent way too long in the past judging myself for like not being okay with the life that I had and knowing I had like a good life, but just wanting something different. I constantly judged myself for wanting something more. And then when I started to accept that it's okay to want to start a business, that's when I made that decision to make the jump to like hire my first coach, to start looking into it, and knowing that I don't have to rush. I think for me, I've spent my entire life rushing to do things. And if I don't do things quickly, then I'm not successful. So that was the first part, was acceptance. And then the second part was that I can build a sustainable business over time, and that feels good to me, and I don't have to rush. But obviously that looks different to everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's such a critical trait as far as
Mm-hmm.
not either getting into a rush or something. With
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, it's one of those things where you just want to say, let me just go fast and like try to figure out how do you
Mm-hmm.
go fast as hell. But sometimes you just got to slow
Yeah.
down to really notice, number one, like learn the right way to do things, right? Just figure out how it works first, spend the time practicing, spend the time
Right.
just hone the skills. And then once you hone the skills, then you could go fast. But I realize a lot of individuals, when they first get into it, it's just how do I go as like 100 miles from 0 to
Yeah.
100 as in the quickest time possible. And I find that those individuals, they typically end up burning themselves out, right?
Oh, for sure. Like I definitely was in those stages of burnout for like the first, like after like a month, I was like, there's no way this is sustainable. So yeah. So I think that was the key for me, was like, you know what, I don't have to do this fast. Like just because I'm taking a little bit longer to gain traction or whatever, doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I don't have the skill. It just takes time.
Yeah. Now, are you pretty active all on social media? What are you? Do you have a main platform you use?
I mainly am on Instagram. I do have a Facebook group that I post in daily, and I post videos in weekly. But I'm very active on Instagram. I post my stories like every day, and then I try to post at least like 3 to 4 times a week. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay, so you're creating quite a bit of content as well.
yes, lots of content for sure.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. That's pretty good. I know that that's a big thing as well too, especially with online. Once you find your purpose, once you find your message, I know a lot of
Hmm.
people resist creating. By the end of the day, the main way individuals are going to find you is you got to have stuff put out there. So
Right.
did you ever go through the phase of being not comfortable putting yourself out there?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Because I'm sure this happens for everybody, is that I have a lot of friends on my Instagram, a lot of family, and same with my Facebook. I have a lot of friends and family. And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't want anybody to judge me and all of these things. And then it came to a point where when I actually started like knowing I wanted to start a business and accepting that I wanted to start a business, and then also sharing my story, a lot of people understood why I was doing what I was doing. And I didn't have to feel as bad about it, I guess, because like when I shared what I had gone through and why I want to help people, people were like, oh, I get it. Like no one actually said that to me, but I think in my head, that's how I kind of like made sense of it in my head, of like, everyone started commenting more and talking more about it, because they were like, oh, I actually get why you're posting more and why you're doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because that's something I was actually one of the things I teach. to my clients as well too, because what we do is we basically
Hmm.
help coaches, consultants get consistent clients to their businesses. And I know that one of the biggest issues most individuals face is just how do I get people to give me the time of day? How do I like actually get a
Hmm.
prospect, someone interested in what I have to offer? And there's
Yeah.
several different ways you can like chase after people and do all these types of things, or
Hmm.
you could, whether it's tell your story, right? Put together,
Right.
like figure out, okay, how does your story relate to how you can help the person make the transformation? Or how does your story relate into how you've used it to affect your life and why you do what you do? So I definitely
Yeah.
see how what you just shared here, which is as far as starting off with your story, letting people know like, hey, it's I'm not just saying I want to do this, just I've actually been through this, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that's 100% true for me. Like it took me a long time to realize that, but when I started realizing, like when people
Mhm.
start seeing me as like as a human behind the platform, then they were like, "Oh, like I can talk to this person. Like this person is conversational. Like this person like knows what I've been through." And then they start reaching out and they're like, "I what you've been talking about has been helping me so much." And all the other things that have been said. But yeah, once they see that you're an actual human behind everything else, like they realize it's like, "Oh, I can actually converse and relate to this person."
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a favorite quote?
A favorite quote. So my favorite quote is, seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing.
Hmm.
And that's actually from the Santa Claus movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's one of those things where like sometimes you have to, in order to see like something come to fruition, you have to really believe in it first. Whether that's something in your life, whether that's their business, whether that's like, whatever, it could be apply really to anything. So that's been my favorite quote for a long time, and that definitely applied to my when I was going through my eating disorders, and then now starting my business. The whole idea of the whole concept that seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah.
I remember the first time I came across that quote. Well, it wasn't that. How did he say? I mean, it was Wayne Dyer, but he said,
Okay.
you'll see it when, or you'll see it when you believe it." Because most people
Right.
say, "Hey, when I believe it, that it has I have to believe it first before it." I'm kind of messing this up right now. What is it?
So
You,
it's seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing. But I know there's all different versions of that quote for sure.
yeah, yeah. So the first time I heard it, I was actually in Africa in a country called Zambia, Lusaka,
Okay.
Zambia. I was working at the American Embassy, but
Hmm.
I was a really big fan of Wayne Dyer. And I was
Hmm.
listening to it. I was like, man, that is so powerful, because, and that's kind of like something I kind of lead off with on my own journey as well too, because I realized like, man, like everything I've really created, just like with entrepreneurship, is one of those
Hmm.
places where everything you're building, it's not stuff that you've done before. Even if the coaches, everyone that's advising you, with you going on your own journey, it's always going to be some brand new. It's never going to work out exactly the same way it worked
Yep.
out for, whether it's your mentors, all these different things. And I believe it's so powerful to say, come from a place of what you said, which is you gotta believe it. So once you believe it,
Hmm.
then you'll see it, right?
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. It's been so true for so many things in my life. And I know when I've tried to like chase after something and like just wanting it to be mine, but like not actually believing it could be mine, it always ended up in me feeling like a failure. So when I started to get behind the whole thing of like, and I know this can be talked about in like manifestation and all that too, but when I started to get behind actually believing in myself and believing that I could be successful in whatever I wanted to be successful at, that's when it started to all fall into place for sure.
Yeah. Now, do you have any routines? How do you get yourself? Because I know that's a challenge for most individuals, right? So it's like, I mean, I gotta,
Hmm.
when I believe it, then I'll see it. I mean, don't I have to see it first? Like, how does someone go from being a person who's I have to see to believe it to making that switch?
So it came from a lot of inner work, a lot of like foundational inner work. And that's another thing with starting a business that I've realized is a lot of it has to do, like obviously there's strategy and practical things you have to do, but a lot of it came down to doing the mindset work, doing the inner work. And for me, the biggest thing was like journaling and taking care of myself. So journaling out like what my like desires were, or what like I saw of what I desired in life and how I wanted my life to look like, and just accepting that and not judging that obviously, or whatever else was on my mind, as well as taking care of myself and like really learning how to meditate and get into my body and start feeling how it is to live in my life at this point, so that I can accept where I am now and then be able to move forward in the future. But I think that's like the biggest thing for me is like starting to do all that inner work was like the key piece that I was missing for so long.
Yeah, yeah, that's so powerful. And inner work is one of those interesting things, because I realize there's several different processes to do it. And one of the ones
Mhm.
I'm on right now is just drawing, right? So I'm working for my own mentors. What the exercise, because I never saw myself as like an artist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But literally, they had me start drawing and stuff. So I spent about 30 minutes each day just drawing. But the fascinating thing is, it's just so interesting because it's exciting simply because it's like almost like I'm drawing the future. Like I'm just like, okay, what do you want it to look like?
Yeah.
But instead of like using words and these different types of things, actually draw it and color it and all these. I'm back here talking about
Yeah.
coloring, like I'm like 30
Yeah.
years old, right? But again,
I
it's
love
so
it too though,
powerful.
so you're not
Yeah,
alone.
yeah, because it's so powerful. Because I think I've been doing this for some time, but it's almost like the things I draw now, they're almost like that's just what I see. Like it's almost like I
Mhm.
believe it. It's just crazy to
Yeah.
see like everything just is like just connecting to bring me to that ideal vision, which is so powerful.
Yeah. It's like taking visualization to the next level, which
Exactly,
is really cool to kind of say it like see it on paper sort of thing.
exactly. Awesome, awesome. So what type of
Yeah.
secret techniques? What do you have up your sleeves in terms of like some one of the best techniques you could share for someone to help them get a result, improve their life? What do you have? What can you share?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, so can I share two things? Is that okay?
Nah, I just want you only get one today.
One? Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
no, I'm
So the
just kidding.
biggest
You get two, you get two. You could take two, but only this time though.
okay, okay, all right. Maybe next time, not so much. So the first thing, I think it's like a two-step process, really. So the first thing is being able to hold self-compassion for yourself. So whether it's like you binge ate, or you practice restrictive eating, or if you have been noticed you've been hating on your body when you look in the mirror or something like that, the biggest thing you can offer to yourself is self-compassion. And Chris, if someone wants to look into this more, Kristen Neff is like the guru on self-compassion. But what it is like you can really just like start to name like the feeling that you're having, like really name it and allow yourself to say that it's okay that you're having this feeling. So for me, it could be like Allison, I know you're really anxious right now. You're not alone in this experience. Other people have experienced this too. Like, may you allow yourself the grace and the time to get through this right now. And a lot of people start to incorporate like rubbing their arms, or rubbing like the tops of their thighs, things like that, to like really start like getting into your body and like kind of feeling your own self, and like knowing that like it's picturing it as treating yourself as you would a friend who's struggling. So that's the first key piece when anyone is struggling in any sort of eating habits or body confidence sort of issues. The second thing is starting to shift the verbiage a little bit. So what I mean by that is by stop giving food any sort of moral value. So food isn't good or bad. No foods are good or bad. Some foods feel more nourishing to your body, and other foods might not feel so nourishing to your body. But if we start to shift the verbiage around the morality around food, we can start not feeling so badly. Like, say, like the same day that we eat, a salad, if you want to have a pizza that night, that's okay. That's not bad. It doesn't make you bad as a person. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Goodness, Allison, I told you share some value, but I didn't know you was gonna share that much value. You know what? We got to charge for this here. We got to charge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
those
is some
are two
awesome
big ones.
stuff. Yeah, love it, love it. So, let me see. Habits. I think, did I ask you about the habits? What's one habit you'd say that either yourself you've developed just as you grow your business, as you go through life, that you feel like has made one of the biggest impacts on your life?
hmm So the biggest habit for me that I've noticed, and like habits for me are something I'm still working on, but like the biggest habit for me has been journaling. I have to say, like I used to be someone that did not journal at all. And the thing with habits is that um, if you think about like a path, like a forked road or a forked pathway, one pathway might be more like trodden. It might be more like beaten down. It's going to be the easier path to take. And then the other path is going to be like, all brambles and sticks, and it's going to be harder to go through, but that might be the path that you want to take. But the
Right.
thing with like neuroplasticity in your brain is that as you can create new neural pathways in your brain and start to go the path that is more difficult, but as you keep going down that path that's more difficult, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And that's what I teach with people like that might be going through binge eating or any sort of negative eating habits per se. But that's kind of what happened when I started doing like yoga every morning, and when I started doing journaling, when I started to feel really stressed out, is I stopped kind of having that narrative that like journaling didn't help me, and stopped going down that pathway of not journaling. And then I started like, you know, doing the journaling, and now that's like the pathway that I'm more likely to take because I know it helps me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. Love it, love it. So we're kind of running short on time here, but if someone wanted to connect, what's the best way for them to reach out?
So you can contact me by email. My email is Allie, ALLI, at dralligifford.com. So it's DRALLIGIFFORD.com. Or you can contact me. I have my platform on Instagram, so at Dr. Allie Gifford. And then also my Facebook group is the Food Freedom and Body Confidence Collective.
Awesome, awesome. What about, do you have
Yeah.
any free resources, any PDFs, checklists
I do. Yeah. So I have my your guide to how to stop binge eating. So if anybody's struggling with binge eating, that's the I'm coming out with more guides, but that's the one I have right now. Is anyone who is struggling to stop binge eating, that's something I have available for people.
Awesome, 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 guys. Well, hey, Allie, thank you so much for being here, guys. And
Yeah.
everything she just mentioned, all the links, they'll either be right above or below this video, so you could click over and check her out. So yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts before we end here?
My final thoughts, I guess, is that, you know, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So if there's something that anybody is struggling with right now, even if that reason, you can't see that reason yet, you know, everything happens for a reason. And what you're going through right now is giving you resilience, is bringing you to another side. And you'll start to see the light of day. So don't give up if you are someone that's struggling with eating issues or body image issues.
Awesome, love it. Well, hey,
Yeah,
thanks again for stopping by. Really appreciate it, and we
of
will be in touch.
course.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
You do this.